What's going on, guys? I'm Zephyros, and today we're going to be going over Gear Dungeon 1, Stage 10. So I'll show you guys the comp that I use, and then I'll run you through which heroes you can use in place of these heroes. So with that all being said, let's get started. So before we get started with the actual run, I'm just going to show you turning Power of Dominance off, just so it's a more realistic first clear, essentially. So this is the team that I like to run for Gear Dungeon 1. So my two defenders that I'll be placing in the lower lane will be Brokir and Haas. I'll be using two healers. I'll be using Eloin for raid regen, and I'll be using Artemis for his anti-heal, essentially. And my main DPS on that bottom lane will be Karmit. You can use so many others. Just as long as it's an AoE mage, it's going to do the job. On the top, I like to use Valk. And if you're not getting enough DPS from Valk, you can actually use Vienna to supplement, or you can just use any damage dealing. Anyone who can do just kind of really quick magic damage is really useful. So you could even put an Ajax down there and just get him ulting to just supplement Valk's damage. And I use Gwendolyn to actually put a shield on Valk to extend her range so that she can be hitting those further units. All right, so let's get started. Cyrus is just there to shorten the ults on Comet. So first person I'll place is Brokir. Then I place Eloin. The reason I place Eloin so early is just because I want her dropping her kind of little elf sprite so that I can get a bit of cost regen in there as well. So yeah, we're just going to be focusing on the bottom lane for the time being, okay? So at the moment, you're not going to be using any of your ultimates, anything like that. You're just going to be getting them ready for when these guys reach here. Karmit should be able to handle these guys without any ult. So we'll place this sprite down and pick it back up just for a bit of cost regen there. Then we'll place good old King Haas behind Brokir. So this is just to stop these guys passing through, okay? Both of them are in Bastion Ring to increase their block by 1. So now we're waiting for these guys to get about here. Then we're going to trigger Artemis, we're going to trigger Karmit. And if you're struggling to keep them alive, use King Haas's ability. We'll drop Valkyrie right at the very edge. Get a bit of cost regen again. Right, so now once you've altered, these two should be handling down there. So you can forget about what's going on down there and focus on up here now. So yeah, they've managed that just fine. So now, next person we're going to place is going to be Vienna, and I like to place her just down here. So once these guys come up, you ult to get a nice big shield and pop Valk's ult. So now she should be hitting all of these guys. Going to get a bit more cost up. We'll put Vienna down now. So now Valk should be handling that fairly comfortably up here. You can ult with Haas again and wait for these two to both be ready. Pop, pop, done. All right, so now we'll watch up here. And just remember, if you ever feel like it's going too quick for you and you just want to slow things down a bit, just click on one of your champions. It will slow things right down. So now you can see that Valk's probably going to handle this. But if for whatever reason you feel like you're not doing enough damage, all you need to do is wait for these last two to be here. Pop Vienna. She's going to execute them. Job done. All right. So yeah, these guys again are handling this pretty comfortably. Don't really need it, but do a bit of cost regen there. So now we're waiting for ults to be back up again. So Valk she's just going to keep attacking, keep regenning. You just need to make sure that she's got a shield on her so that when she does Pop, she's hitting further range. If you ultimate with Valk and she doesn't have a shield on her, she's not going to extend her range. She's not extending her range. She's not hitting these two. She's only going to hit these two, and you're going to have a hard time, all right? Because these two will hit hard enough to kill her. So now we're just going to wait for these guys to come here. Again, keep an eye, because if you feel like you're not going to do enough damage on these guys here, you always have your damage dealer up here. So whether it's Vienna, whether it's whoever it is, if it's an Ajax, if it's any damage dealer, they just supplement Valk's damage, right? So that wave is now dealt with, okay? It's really no need for the cost regen, but we'll do it anyway. So these guys are ready. So the moment they hit there, we're going to ult, put Haas's ultimate up just so that he's got a bit of tankiness there. You don't really need it, but with two healers here, but why not? Right, so we're just waiting for Valk's ability to come back up again. Pop Gwen just to make sure that she has it. And there you go. We're good to go. So here you can see they've actually got quite a lot of health left on them. So we're going to whittle them down, wait for them to take a couple of hits. And then you're going to ult with Vienna because she will now execute. Done. All right. And now we're just waiting for these guys to pop back up. Ultimate, job done. All right, so this wave will just be handled by Karmit and Artemis, who, by the way, I've actually built in a damage build, right, just to help kill them quick enough. They will handle that bottom. You don't really need to worry about anything else, right? Get these guys back up. We're now waiting for Valk. So here she's taken quite some time to get her ult back up, right? So we're going to need Vienna here to just do that little execute right at the end, okay? Pop Gwendolyn. Make sure we get a nice big shield, which we haven't actually got. There we go. Now we really need Valk to lay out some good damage so that we can execute properly. There you go. So now that that's done, we can take that off. Use Ajax. So we're just going to wait for these two to be up. Ult. And you've pretty much done now. This bit's pretty straightforward. Just taking out these last two mobs. And that's it. That's stage 10, Gear Dungeon 1 done. And there were no real areas of kind of worry there. As long as you've got decent builds, right? Decent attack builds. Anything good there? Nope. Sell that. Any good Guardian? Nope. Right. So now we'll go into the builds. All right. So I've got my King Haas and my Brokir both in Guardian set. Well, actually, no, I think I've got Tempered Will on Brokir, but you don't need that, okay? So you've got HP, 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 okay? Just full send the HP, HP substat, defense substat, HP substat, defense substat, right? Just crank up the HP and the defense on them. Haas is in a defense, Tempered Will, HP, HP, but like I said, you don't need this, okay? You just need them to be in a decent build, decent HP build. But these are the builds on mine, right? Next up, so those are the tanks. Cyrus you don't need to worry about. Valk. Valk is in full send attack, okay? Just attack, attack, attack in Infernal Roar. And so she is pretty much nearly crit cracked, around 18.5 attack, decently quick, and decent builds. Nothing cracked here, but they are good builds. Okay, obviously, if you're going to be stage 10, you do need to have pretty decent builds, so you're dealing enough damage quick enough. Okay. Then who else have we got? Gwendolyn. This build doesn't really matter, if I'm honest with you, okay? I've got her in an Invig just to give that little bit of extra damage to Valk. She doesn't need to be in cracked gear. She just needs to be putting a shield up. Valk is not taking a huge amount of damage, right? So as long as you manage to just get a shield, so the quicker you build her, the better. To be honest, I haven't even built her quick because I've just left her in an Invig set. Okay, but the quicker she's putting out the shields, the better for you. Okay. Then you've got Vienna. Again, Vienna doesn't need to be in cracked gear. I've literally got her in leftover ancient curse rings and curse gear. Okay, I haven't even leveled all of this up because she doesn't need it. I don't use Vienna anywhere else except for this. Okay, so I've got her in leftover gear because she just needs to execute them if Valk hasn't done enough damage. My Eloin, again in an Invig set, I've actually built her tanky just because I use her in places like Immortal Codex and I just can't be bothered to change her gear. So she's built to just be able to take a hit with 36k HP, enough attack and enough. She's obviously very quick and she's got enough healing effect that she does decent healing. Karmit. Again, ideally you would be building Karmit in like a Soulbound Arcana. I'm not that bothered. He's not even crit capped. He's 92%. He's got decent attack here, but just because, again, full send the attack. Attack, attack, attack. Forget crit damage, just put them in all attack substats on these, because that's what you need. To deal the damage, that's all you need, okay? And then Ajax, again, Ajax's build is not that important because I barely used him. I just put him down right at the end just to deal a bit of extra damage just to speed the run up a bit, okay? Artemis. So, like I said during the run, I've built Artemis in as a DPS set. So he's in Soulbound Arcana with healing effect as substats. That's actually a quad roll, but not the best rolls, but yeah, healing effect. Now, the reason I've only built him as 61 is because my Artemis is A1. The only time Artemis deals damage is during his ultimate. So this A1 is really useful. The moment you get A1, it means you can just build him to 50% crit rate, forget everything else. If you don't have him A1 and he's just A0, then really and truly you should be trying to build him up to 100%, right? The people who you would use in lieu of Artemis are going to be Lasir with his anti-heal, or if you've got it, Demi. Right, they're the ones who you use for that anti-heal, and you would use them next to a damage dealer like your Ajax or like your Karmit, or like your Boreas, right? So those kind of AoE mage DPS units, couple them with the anti-heals, and then you would obviously have a healer like your Eloin next to that, all right? And then up at the top, the two units who really stand out are Valk, or you've got you can use Thalon, right? So Thalon again is great, but not as many people have Thalon, which is why I chose to use Valk, because you can tell I don't really use Thalon. He's in a broken set. I just feel Valk is actually easier to use. As long as you've got Valk and someone who's throwing a shield on like a Vortex or like a Gwen, then Valk is going to be really consistent, and then you can just pair her with someone who's going to deal that additional damage if for whatever reason she's not dealing enough damage for that top lane. So yeah, that is how you deal with Gear Dungeon 1 Stage 10. I hope you found that useful. If you do have any questions about that run, feel free to comment below and I will answer any questions. I've been Zephyros. Hopefully see you soon. Stay blessed.